Hello, welcome to another video review by Torches Arco UK. This video we're looking at the Sofirn SP70. So this light was sent to me by Banggood.com for free. It'll be an honest review regardless. We'll just tell you what I think. It is my first Sofirn. I've read a lot about these guys. They seem to be very interested in getting their products right. I know that they do a lot of feedback from budget light forums, making sure that people are satisfied with the quality and the specifications that they're using in their lights. Packaging is certainly incredibly modest. It's a cardboard box with a barcode on it, absolutely no branding at all on there. It doesn't even say SP70, it just says 6,000, 6,500 Kelvin and then a bunch of barcode numbers on there. Inside the box, the packaging again leaves a lot to the imagination. A little bit of foam and the light's loose inside. What you tend to find with budget lights is they'll compromise in areas in order to spend money and get things right in areas where it counts, and I think that's the case with Sofirn. They realise that packaging is just going to get put to one side, put away, forgotten about, and I think what they've done is spent the money where it counts, on the light and on the components, as opposed to on a pretty box. I don't mind having a good packaging, don't get me wrong, Astrolux do great packagings, but I don't think it should detract from what's important, which is the light. When companies don't when companies use more modest packaging, it's not necessarily an indication of the light. It's just that they've concentrated, they've put the efforts into this, and this has kind of fallen into second and third place. So in the box we got a new replacement for the button, a couple of split rings, a couple of O-rings. So they've made sure that you've got plenty of accessories, plenty of spares. So they haven't skimped there, and that's what I mean. They're putting attention in where it really matters. Here is the instructions. The specifications are there, and a bit about the light and the user interface. Can you see that? It's got two different modes on the user interface. You've got ramping mode, which is a hidden mode which you access with six quick presses of the switch, and then it actually comes default with a let's see. So the default group, you press and hold and it cycles through eco, low, mid, high outputs, and then you double click at any point to activate turbo. Right, let's go through some specs then. So turbo is 5,500 lumens, automatically steps down to high after 3 minutes. You can double click to reactivate turbo at that point, and it's got thermal management, so when the driver reaches 60 degrees it also starts stepping down. 687 meters of throw on turbo. This is a high output thrower. It's an absolute beast, by the way. Huge reflector, orange peel, XHP 70.2 emitter down at the bottom, IP68 rating, so it's fully waterproof. I've been very impressed. Like I say, I haven't really used Sofirn products. I've read about them on the forums. People have been really impressed so far. Decals are really clear. crisp. Everything's well centered. Look how chunky the head is. It's heavy. Loads of heat sinking around the head. Good grippy knurling. Actually, you know what? That's some of the best knurling that I've had on a light. That's nearly. I had a Surefire UBR Invictus, and the knurling on that, it nearly gripped hold of your hand even when you weren't holding it. It was that grippy. This is probably the best I've felt on any other light. That's really well made, really grippy, decent. Now I like the 26-650 size tube as well. It's very comfortable to the hand. Enormous tail cap. It's just nicely designed, really nicely designed. It's got like a grip ring here, but I'm not. It's a bit heavy to hold as a tactical light, but it's there anyway if you want to. And it's got a lanyard hole on there as well as on the tail cap. It's an awesome light, absolutely awesome. So let's have a look inside. Really smooth threads. Very smooth threads. Loads of threads on the tail cap as well. Anodized. Double springs, thick double springs in the tail. Hang on. Really well made. Button feels good. Firm. There's no play in that. Hang on a sec, I've dropped the battery. It came with these 18650 adapters. Ideally you'd use 26-650 cells in this for the capacity and the runtime, but it works with 18650s as well. Got to focus on there. So unscrewing it at the head, again really smooth, thick O-rings on there, loads of grease, decent threads. It doesn't feel like a budget light at all. The square threads actually, anodized both ends, square threads. It's nice, it is just nice, this light. There's the head, really heavy, double springs again, just nicely made. It feels like such a more expensive light than what it is. Loads and loads of threads on that. Right, let's stick these in. I'm using Samsung 30Q button top cells in this. Screw it all back together. So the forward clicky on the rear provides a physical lockout. It's a forward clicky as opposed to horrible reverse clickies. Reverse clickies are awful. So you do get momentary on the back switch. Turn it on. Yeah, that really bright side switch lit up for the first several seconds. The first several seconds of that switch being on, by the way, is a battery indicator. I think it goes green, orange, red, flashing red as the battery depletes. So it doesn't give you the voltage, but it gives you a battery status indicator. So the light is now on. What have I got that on? That must be low or eco. So you press and hold and it ramps through all the outputs. So we've got, I'll just tell you what the outputs are. So you've got eco at 60 lumens, a low of 400 lumens, a medium of 1200 lumens, a high of 3000 lumens, and then turbo 5500 lumens. And actually, if you press and hold, you also have a 2 lumen moonlight, which is great. Big lights like this, they can often forget to do a moonlight mode, and they are really helpful. So that's a nice feature. I'm glad it's got that. Don't believe it's got anti-reflective glass on the front actually. Looking at that just looks, no it doesn't. So it doesn't have anti-reflective glass. I guess that's just one of the areas where they've considered controlling the price. It's not a major issue for me, I've got to be totally honest with you, but that is something you should be aware of. It's not anti-reflective. Anyway, right, back to the outputs. I believe Sofirn have been very conservative with their estimates on the outputs on this light. I've seen reports of people who have had 6000 lumens using 18650 cells, and even I've read that people with using high discharge 26650 cells have achieved 7000 lumens with this light. So it's good to see a manufacturer being conservative with their outputs as opposed to exaggerating them. This is a honestly, I'm lost for words just how well they've done with this light. I think this light retails for about 50-60 quid, and before the likes of Sofirn and before the likes of Astrolux who do fantastic lights, fantastic quality at really low price if comparative to the mainstream, the big names in the industry. It's fantastic value for money. It's got all the quality where it counts. Performance is absolutely cutting edge for the size of the lights that they produce. It's just a great bit of kit. Right, I'll show you a bit more about the user interface. I will just have to refer to this because this is fairly new to me. So we've gone through click and hold for moonlight, double click anytime for turbo, single press will take you back to the previous mode including moonlight, which is nice, and then you can press and hold to cycle through all the modes. Click for off. 6 fast clicks change from group 1 to group 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Did you see the see if it'll do it again? Oh, the battery just showed. Oh yeah, there you go. It's turning red now to show me that the batteries are on the way down in terms of voltage. I didn't actually charge these up. These batteries were at 3.72 volts before this review, so it hasn't depleted them from 4.2 volts in that time. Anyway, so click and hold side switch to ramp up and down. So because I clicked 6 times, it should have changed from group 1 to group 2 user interface. So click and hold, get the moonlight, click and hold again. Oh, right, okay. So that's the ramping mode now. So when I press and hold it to turn it on, that came on moonlight, and it just stays on moonlight. Click it off, click it on, ramp all the way to the top, ramp all the way to the bottom. So that's the ramping mode now. That's interesting actually, that when I pressed and held that, it kind of came on and stayed on and locked on moonlight. So even if I ramp up and press the button, it doesn't do anything. Whereas if you're in the ramping mode and you do a quick single click, then you get into the ramping modes then. Single click to turn off, so there we go. 4 fast clicks to activate lockout. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so now it's locked out. And if I try and use it, it gives me 2 blinks to tell me it's locked out. Click it 4 times again, it comes back on. The side switch, by the way, is really responsive. It does stand proud of the light, easy to find. It looks like a big soft spongy switch. I had an Olight S10 baton, the original one, a few years ago, and had a switch that was similar to that, and it was really spongy. And when I first got this and I saw that, I thought, oh, is that going to be a really spongy switch, because I hate them, but it's not. It's really responsive. Oh, really responsive, and there's that red indicator again for the batteries. I like the physical lockout on the back. I like the momentary on the rear switch. I like to be able to have it on and just simply control it with the side button as well. It's just a very versatile system, that, when you have the 2 switches. So overall it's been very well thought out, this light. Great performance, nicely executed, well made, great UI. I don't actually like the ramping mode in this. It's maybe a little bit too fast, the ramping for me. Let me just give it another go. Oh, remember that rear switch. No, you know what, it's too slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I prefer that. I prefer that user interface for this light, actually. I prefer the Eco Low, Mid, High, double click for turbo. It just feels better. It's odd how it changes with each light. So yeah, I would really recommend this. I highly recommend it. If lights like this with this sort of performance, with over 5,500 lumens and 700 meters of throw, to get that sort of output, you could have spent £200–300. Modified lights, more than that maybe, going back 12, 18 months, 2 years, to be able to get that same performance out of a £50, £60 light is absolutely fantastic. It's opening up a world of real high performance lights to just normal people who don't have hundreds and hundreds of pounds to spend on lights. Really thankful of Banggood for sending me this for review. I'll put a link in the description so you can purchase it from them. Do recommend it. It's great. Like, just a little hot logo there is so much clearer than other lights. They've made this really well. I'm pleased with this. Very pleased. I'll get some beam shots done. I like to keep the beam shots separate in separate videos, because some people prefer listening to a bit about the light. Some people just prefer the beam shots, and that's why I've decided to do them as 2 separate things now. So I'll put a link in the description once that's done. It'll be a few days until I can get that up, just because it's summertime and we don't have a lot of nighttime hours at the moment. Oh yeah, please do check the light out. Check Sofirn out. They do a few other lights in their range as well that I reckon they'll be around for a while. This company, they really do seem to take care and pride in what they're doing. Yeah, I'll leave it with you. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.